Aloha my kako ukulele friends, and thank you so much for coming back to my channel. My name is Steven Espaniola, and typically on this channel we cover a book called the Mele Aloha book, which is a great resource for Hawaiian music, about 300 pages or so. This week I thought it would be really fun to do a string changing tutorial, because a lot of people always, they come up to me, especially during these pandemic times, where a lot of the music stores are closed. I thought I would take the opportunity to not only show you guys how to change ukulele strings on a soprano instrument, but also to kind of introduce you guys to my latest acquisition, this beautiful style 2M soprano Martin ukulele from the late 1930s, I believe, or it could be possibly the early 40s. Incredibly beautiful instrument, and I picked this up at an estate sale recently, and a friend of mine called to let me know that there were a couple of ukuleles at this estate sale. I think there was a Kamaka ukulele there, and I noticed this one there too. So I went to the sale specifically to get this guy. And I don't know if you've ever been to an estate sale, but it's a really stressful situation happening at those things. I've been to maybe like 5 or 6 before, and this was the first one where I knew what the inventory was at this estate sale, and I saw this on the listing, and I went there specifically to pick this up. And I thought it was early. I thought it was going to be early, about an hour and a half early, and I got there and there were about 30 people in front of me, and I just had to hope that none of them were ukulele people. And so I've wanted one of these for a very long time, and there's a lot of history involved in these ukuleles. And I don't know if you know about my signature line, which is right here. This is my Ukulele signature ukulele, and a lot of the aesthetic that went into creating this ukulele actually came from this ukulele. So a lot of I don't know if you can see side by side, of course this is a soprano instrument, this is a tenor, but a lot of just like some of the detailing, like the satin finish, I kind of borrowed that aesthetic from the old Martin ukuleles, and just really like the simple detailing around the instrument, not very ornate or anything, just kind of very simple, kind of to the point, very classic. And that's what I wanted to this is a koa, this is a mahogany instrument, but you can see it kind of has the same resemblance in the wood. But a lot of the ideas going into building this came from this instrument here, and I was so happy when I was able to pick this up at a really, really, really good price. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to show you guys how to change strings, and not only change strings, but change strings on my latest ukulele acquisition. Let's get right into it. You're only going to need some very basic tools. You can put any set of soprano strings on this instrument, and I got a couple here that I already had in stock. These are a set of the Martin fluorocarbon strings, M600s, and I think I'm actually gonna go ahead and put these on this instrument, just to hear what the sound is like. If you had an instrument like this one, like my Kanile'a, where it has bridge pins, then you would need like some kind of tool to pop out these bridge pins. But we're not going to need that for this one. This one's just going to be a simple tie for the bridge system here. And I don't know if you can see that. So these older strings were just kind of tied, slipped through the bridge here, so they stay in place. You're going to need a tuner to make sure you're in tune. Some people use string winders. I don't really like to use that. I just kind of like to unwind and wind the strings by hand, and because I like spending that time with the instrument. It takes it's an opportunity for you to spend some time close to your instrument, to kind of check to see if there's anything wrong with your instrument. And so I like to spend that time to kind of really take my time and see what's going on with the instrument. Sometimes I will go ahead and use that opportunity to clean or polish my ukulele. So right now what I'm doing is I'm taking off the old set of strings, and these I have no idea how long they've been on here, so some of it may just kind of be might just be a little harder to get off than other ones. So I took off the G string right here, and what I like to do with the old set of strings is I just like to kind of wind them onto itself just so it's not all over the place, and then I'll put that out of the way. We'll go ahead and open this new set of Aquilas. For these Aquila strings, some people like them, some people don't. I like the feel of the Aquilas. They just have a nice, really nice feel to them. You can look on the back of the package here. It has the color coding here, so it tells you which color corresponds with the particular set of strings. Usually this color coding system is pretty standard in industry for ukulele, for not only ukulele but for guitar as well. So I'm gonna find the white one, and that is this guy right here. Well, this one doesn't have any color, so it doesn't really matter what end we use, but I'll show you what I like to do when we start getting to the color strings. Okay. So, another thing you want to do is you want to lay down some kind of soft material underneath your ukulele so you don't do any damage to it. This just happens to be a microfiber cloth. For this G string, I'm just doing a single knot so that I can and then what I'm gonna do is, what I like to do is I like to put it in to the bridge here, and then I like to just kind of get a sense of where I need to snip off. So you can see that knot is going in right about there. So I'm gonna take off just a little bit past that. I don't like to show any of this. See how this excess string is kind of sticking out? I don't like to show any of that when I change my strings. I like to keep it pretty clean as possible. So we're gonna go ahead and snip off maybe about this much here. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the bridge. And a little bit too much was sticking out again, so I'm gonna snip off just a little bit more. Okay, so that looks good. I don't know if you can see. So you see like just a barely anything is kind of sticking out there. Make sure this knot is fairly tight, because what you don't want is you don't want it kind of slipping out. Grab this small set of channel lock pliers, so I just can kind of pull on this end here, and just to make sure that that knot is fairly tight. Okay, so let's go ahead and slip it back into the bridge here, and we're gonna go ahead and feed it through. So it's just like doing a feeding a you know, if you do a needle and thread, just kind of like putting the string through the eye there. You want to make sure when it's winding, it doesn't wind on the string doesn't wind onto itself. Okay, so so I'm just kind of making sure it doesn't wind on itself. So I want to get it kind of in the ballpark. Checking the bridge right here, make sure it doesn't slip out. I'm giving it like a little. So I want to get it kind of just in the ballpark. Sounds almost right. So let me see. Yep, sounds about right. So I'm gonna leave this excess right here, okay, for now. Now we're gonna do the C string. So you want to turn this tuning peg counterclockwise this time, so that we can give it some slack, and that will kind of allow you to push this part out here. Okay, this kind of pops out in this area here. And then what you can do is kind of unwind this right here. So right now I'm just kind of Trying to get this old string off of the peg. Okay. And there we go. So what some people like to do is they like to take the old string. So this is the old string here. And then some people just like to match the, so I'm gonna find out what the C string is. C string is a green, okay? So there is a green string. So I'm gonna find the green string, and here, that's that one there. Make sure you pick the right ones. The only two left are blue and red. So those are gonna be hard to mistake. Okay, so I got the green one out. So what some people like to do to make sure they get the right size is they take the old string and they kind of match it against the new one like that. I don't really like to do that. I just kind of like to start fresh. So let's take this old string and we will wrap it up. So wrap that guy up, get it out of the way. Okay, so I'm gonna take this green one here, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the tip of the green, okay? So I'm gonna take the green here and I'm gonna use that to thread on the tuning peg side. So just so I can snip off the excess and you won't be able to see the color. So I'll just divot one single knot here. And let's take those channel locks and kind of pull really tight here. So I think that single knot is going to be, enough to keep it in place. And then I'm going to feed it through the bridge just to see what we got going on here. We're gonna cut some of this excess off. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of snip about maybe like that much off. Okay, so let's go ahead and back to the bridge over here. Okay, I got that side in. Let's go ahead and feed this through on this end. And same thing like the other one. So you're gonna feed it through, you're gonna get your approximate length here, and then wrap it clockwise around this post here. Slip it onto the nut, and then we're gonna turn this guy here. I'm gonna turn it clockwise as well. So I'm gonna give it like a little bit more slack. I don't like how much it was giving me there. So this method is pretty accurate when you do this. So here, okay. So once again, I'm on the 3rd fret, and I like to pull the string up to the base of where the finger meets the palm. Okay. So that usually tells me about how much I need. So let's wrap it around there. Go into the nut. Turn this clockwise. Sometimes these other strings can kind of get in the way, but not a big deal. So once again, like I said, like I mentioned before, make sure it doesn't wind onto itself. vicinity. This one a little longer than I wanted for that one, but we can go ahead and trim that later. Oh, sorry. I have to angle that up just in case. I don't want to mar the finish there. Okay, let's do the third string here, the E string. So I'm gonna unwind that and kind of take the slack up here, push it out. Sometimes you can kind of push this guy in to take the other one out. Needle nose would probably be better for this, but this will work fine. Okay, so once again, wind up the old string, get her out of the way. Okay, and then we're gonna do the E string this time. The E string is coated blue. I don't know if you can see that. You trust me. So get the blue. As you can see, the only two remaining strings are the blue and the red. Okay, I want the blue. So like we did on the other one, I'm gonna make sure the color side is on the peg side. The clear side is on the bridge side. So just do a single knot, should be enough. Should be enough on these soprano instruments. These soprano instruments are pretty small. So the bridge area. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure this is nice and tight. Go back to the bridge, make sure it fits okay in there. Then I'm gonna clip off the excess, about say this much. Should be fine. Okay, I'm gonna go back down to the bridge. Pop it in there like that. See? String this through. Now this side is gonna be a little different, okay? So this time I'm gonna go, we're gonna go ahead and feed it through. Okay, and before we were winding these clockwise, right? So now we want to go ahead and wind it, you guessed it, counterclockwise. Okay, so get the ballpark slack that you think you might need. Okay, and then it rounds in here. And then, so because we did that counterclockwise, we want to also turn these pegs counterclockwise. And like the other one, make sure it doesn't wind onto itself. It's about the vicinity. Ballpark. Let me see. I'm going to do the last string here. So as you can see, it doesn't really take that much to change it. A lot of it is kind of a mystery, you know, like you don't, it kind of seems like it's going to be really hard, but like anything else, the more you do it, the easier it gets. I've changed a ton of strings in my ukulele playing career, and for me, it just, I mean, I consider it a time to kind of meditate almost with my instrument. And I'm gonna take this excess and wrap it around itself and toss it. And you know, like I mentioned before, I got this at an estate sale who knows how long these strings have been on this instrument. I mean, they seem like they've been on since probably the 1930s. So I'm gonna do the same like I did with the other string. Just tie it in a little simple knot here. Take your pliers or channel locks, go like this. So I did lie, you will need some sort of pliers to kind of pull these tight like that. And then slip it into the bridge area here. So let me just kind of do it this way so you can see. So all I'm doing is placing it in the bridge and then pulling it, making sure it goes into this little hole there. There you go, like that, okay? And then what I'm gonna do now is just cut off this excess. So I'd say right about there, okay? Back into the bridge, pull this guy this way. Same thing like the previous one, like the E string. Pop it through the hole. Get a general length check. Wrap it counterclockwise. Slip it through the little nut there. And then you want to turn this counterclockwise. So here you can see it's kind of wrapping up against itself, so I just want to fix that. Tune it up. So this one is a little longer than I would have liked. So I'm gonna take like a set of maybe nail clippers and kind of trim that to size. Or I could leave it. But I like to have it kind of short on the end there. So let's get it general. So I like to tune them, make sure they're attuned like that, okay? And then what I like to do is I like to stretch the strings just like this. So I start off from where the sound hole is, or even further down, and I just kind of give it like these little pulls here like this, okay? And what this is doing is it's kind of pulling it so that the strings kind of helps the strings to kind of settle in place. So now I'm not even really in tune. So what I'm gonna do now is, now that I have it kind of relatively in tune, I'm gonna cut off all this crazy excess here. Sort of the same area that we did on the other guys here. So here, make sure you have this rounded side here, not this concave side. So have the rounded side facing the post, and I would say like right about there is a good place to snip. Okay, same with the other one. Right about there. Same with this one. It's kind of like cutting your fingernails, I guess. Right about there. And make sure you don't cut the wrong set of the string. Now make sure you don't cut this guy right here, because I've seen that happen before, believe it or not. And basically have to buy another whole set of strings. Okay, we got all that excess off. Now it looks a little neater. Now we're gonna take the tuner, whatever kind of tuner. I use a couple of different kinds. This is the, I think this is the Planet Waves tuner. Really cool, really bright, and you can't really see anything now because it's not on the instrument, but there's also the Fender Bullet Tuner is really cool, really tiny, really bright. So I use both of those. Today I'm gonna use this Planet Waves one. It's pretty accurate, nice and bright, okay? Now, what some people like to do is they like to actually change these tuning pegs out to the more modern ping style gear tuners that resemble these, but I kind of like the friction tuners. You know, I want to play like how those guys did in the 30s. Struggle, you know, the struggle is real. So let's go ahead and get these guys in tune. GC. That's it, you guys. Pretty simple. Thank you once again for joining me on this string changing episode, and we'll be back next time where we go over Hawaiian songs from the Mele Aloha book. You can find out more information about me at www.stevenespaniola.com, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Ahui ho and malama pono.